Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well and I'm so excited that you decided to join me for this 20-minute stretch. So I've named this stretch a post-flight stretch since I know it's the holiday season and this is part of the Summer Shred home workout program. So I know a lot of people might be taking a lot of flights where they're sitting down for a long time, they're carrying heavy bags, they're generally not feeling very good. So I've designed a lot of these stretches to really open up your chest, loosen up your muscles and your joints, but it goes without saying that anybody can use this stretch. It doesn't have to be post-flight. Those are things that a lot of us, we sit all the time, we carry heavy things. We need to do this stretch anyway. So yeah, I hope you're as excited as I am. You won't need any equipment for this workout, and without further delay, I'm gonna press the timer, so let's get started. All right, so firstly, we're just gonna go into a downward dog. And so we're going to try and keep our legs straight, but if you need a slight bend, that's fine. And we're going to push our head and our chest through our arms, and then we're just going to walk up and down. So digging one heel into the ground and then the other. And just going at a slow walk, really feeling the stretch throughout the back of your legs, so through the hamstrings and particularly the calves. You can also just put your heels down and chill in that extended position for a little bit to really get a deep stretch in those calves. Or you can just keep on walking up and down, whatever you prefer today. Remember to keep breathing. Nice. And now we're going to put one knee down and bring the other foot forward. And we're going to be going into a deep lunge. So really feeling the stretch in that hip flexor. And then we're going to take the same arm as the leg that's forward and we're going to twist up to the sky, really getting a stretch in that chest and also a little bit of a deeper stretch in that hip. Try and relax into the stretch, sinking your hips a little bit lower or twisting a little bit higher. Nice, and now we're changing legs, so other foot forward, sinking our hips down, trying to keep our chest as upright as possible, and then taking that same arm to the front leg and twisting up towards the sky, looking up at that hand that is facing up to the sky. So with these stretches, you might feel a stretch differently depending on where you're tight. So some days you might feel it more in your hips, some days you might feel it more in the glutes. It just depends. It's always about finding a position that feels good to you in the moment. There's no 100% right or wrong with these stretches. Perfect. So now we're just gonna stay on all fours. I'll show you from the front, and we're just gonna be doing a few stretches to really loosen up our wrists. So firstly, with our palms facing the ground, fingers pointing away from us, we're just gonna go from side to side, really pushing our body weight into our wrists and feeling that nice stretch. So if that feels good, you can stay there, or you can flip your hands around so that your palms are facing upwards now and your fingers are facing towards you. And again, move side to side, forward and back. You can also turn your hands the opposite way, and again, turn your hands the opposite way so that, got confused, so that your palms are on the ground and fingers towards you. Nice. So now we're gonna stay on the floor and we're gonna go into a Cobra. Pushing up, really looking upwards, stretching out your neck, stretching out your abs and your lower back. You can also do this on your elbows if you prefer, or if on your hands is a little bit too intense. And in this Cobra position, we're just going to take our head, our neck even, and move side to side, really opening up that neck joint. So looking left and then looking right, all the way, all the time, pushing your hips into the ground. Perfect, and now standing up, well not standing up, we're still on the ground, but just lifting our hips up. In this all-four position, we're going to thread one hand through so that our shoulder touches the ground if possible, and using the other hand that's still on the ground to really push into the other direction, really feeling that stretch in your upper back. Nice, and switching sides, so threading the arm through, the other arm through, shoulder on the ground, and using the other hand to really push into that twist. So feeling that stretch in the upper back and maybe the obliques also. Nice, so staying kneeling down, but lifting up our chest. We're just gonna try and interlace our fingers. So one arm crosses over our body like this, and the other hand tries to grab it. Really trying to touch the fingers. If you're here, that's fine. Also, you don't need to be touching your fingers. It's all gonna be dependent on your level of flexibility and mobility. Alternatively, you can just keep this arm crossed over and use the other hand to just push down if touching your fingers is just a little bit too intense right now. You can also be raised up if you don't like the pressure on your ankles, or you can sit down on your feet, whichever you prefer. You can even do this standing if you like. All right, and switch arms. So one arm crosses over your head, the back of your head even, and the other hand trying to touch the fingers. Remember, with these stretches, you want to feel a little bit of a stretch, maybe a little bit, even a little bit of discomfort, but you don't want to be feeling a lot of pain or strain. If it's really painful, then you probably need to regress back to this motion, a slightly easier one. So for example, just pushing with your hand, you're crossed over the top arm that's crossed over, sorry, rather than trying to push into a stretch that your body's not quite ready for yet. Amazing work. So now we're gonna stand up, and then we're just gonna working the lower body now, go into a deep squat, as low as is comfortable for you. So if that's here, that's fine. Just as low down as you can, and really trying to use your hands to push your knees out so you can go a little bit to one side, a little bit to the other side, whatever feels good. Try forwards, backwards, but just trying to keep your chest open and upright and your knees pushing outwards. Really just stretching the entire lower body, but especially the inner thighs and hip flexors. If you sit back a little bit, you'll also get a little bit of a stretch in the ankles, just rocking forward and back. Perfect. So now standing up, we're just gonna cross one leg over our knees and we're gonna lower down, really feeling a stretch in the leg that's crossed over, in the glutes and the hip. You can of course hold onto a wall or a chair for support here. We're trying to stretch out the muscles. We're not working balance or strength in the leg that's on the ground. Nice, now switching leg. So the other leg crosses over the opposite knee and lowering downwards. Really feeling that stretch, remember, in the glute or the hip of the leg that's crossed over. And again, you can always hold on to a wall for support, like I'm doing here. So I have less, my balance isn't as good on the left leg, so in order to get that deeper stretch, it's going to be beneficial for me to hold on to the wall. Perfect, so now taking the leg that was on the ground, we're just going to go into a quad stretch. So pulling your heel to your butt, pushing your hips forward and getting a nice stretch in the front of that leg through those quads. Again, you can hold on to a wall for support if you need it. The point of this workout, if you want to call it, or stretch, is to stretch the muscles, not to work on your balance or strength. So don't be afraid to go for that little bit of extra support. Nice, and now switching sides, pulling that heel to your butt, keeping your hips forward and really feeling that nice stretch throughout the front of your leg, specifically the quad. Remembering to keep breathing through all of these stretches. Use this time not only to relax your muscles, but also to relax your mind. Switch off after long days of work, lots of days traveling, whatever it is. Just allow yourself this time to feel relaxed. Amazing work. So now we're gonna be standing, having a soft bend in our knees, and then we're just gonna be folding forwards Trying to hug our hands behind our calves and really hugging, so pushing our chest closer to our legs. Remember to have a soft bend here in the knees in order to make this stretch safe and comfortable, because for most of us, if we try to go with straight legs, it's just our hamstrings are too tight to be able to hug close. So with this one, it's not about keeping the back straight, it's about really folding over as much as possible, feeling that nice stretch all throughout the hamstrings, the back of the legs, and also your back. Nice, so now we're just going to go down to the floor for the final few stretches. So first, we're going to have one leg extended and we're going to bring the other leg up in the air, trying to keep it as straight as possible, grasping our hands behind our thighs, so on our hamstrings, and trying to pull that leg in towards our chest. Perfect, and now taking the same leg that's up in the air and crossing it over the body. So trying to keep our opposite shoulder on the ground if possible. Both our shoulders in fact, but especially this one, it's going to want to twist over with the leg, but we want to try and keep it down to the ground as much as possible. And trying to create that almost perpendicular angle between your legs, looking over to the opposite side. Nice, so now bringing that leg over and bringing the opposite leg, the one that was on the ground, up into that extended position in the air, clasping our hands behind our thighs on our hamstrings and trying to pull that leg in towards our chest as much as possible. Remember, we're going for a slight stretch, a slight discomfort, but not excruciating pain, of course. You can play around pointing your heel towards you. You might get more of a stretch in the calf. Pointing your toe towards you. You might get more of a stretch in the calf. Pointing your toe upwards might be more of a stretch in the front of the foot. Play around with all of these stretches, like I said. Play around with what feels good for you today, where you're tight, where you feel you need a little bit more love to give to your muscles and joints. And remember to breathe through them. And cross the leg over, the one that was extended in the air. And then opposite shoulder, trying to keep it as firmly on the ground as possible and looking towards that opposite side. Trying to create that perpendicular line between our legs. Nice, and our final stretch, we're just going to go into a happy baby pose. So we're going to grab our feet and we're going to Try and keep our lower back firmly on the ground and just pulling in our feet and thus our legs in towards our chest. You can try pushing them slightly further out, bringing them slightly further in. Again, whatever feels good to you today and in this moment. Take a final few deep breaths in and out. Amazing work, everyone. That's it. That's your 20-minute stretch completed, whether you did this after a flight or just after a long day's work or just because you felt like you needed to move your body around. I'm so glad you decided to join me. I hope you enjoyed it. It's all part of my Summer Shred workout program that's going to be going throughout the entirety of August. So yeah, it's going to incorporate a lot more stretches, strength work, HIIT, mobility, cardio, everything under the umbrella of fitness. So definitely check it out. Check out my channel, subscribe, like, give me a comment, tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like, because I'm always looking for feedback to improve. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully see you soon. Bye.